is 30,000 people. One of you for taking the effort to be here today. Many of you have traveled and made arrangements and carpooled, and I want to thank you for taking that time and thank you for making that effort. Thank you. In fact, I think we're all here together because we share in the frustration and heartache that comes from watching those in power. In fact, we're all here together because we share in the frustration and heartache that comes from watching those in power actively tear down or refuse to fight for working Americans like us. We're here together because an extreme concentration of power and corruption is taking over this country like never before. And we are here, most importantly, because we know that a better world is possible. To get there, we need to be honest about where we are. We are witnessing an oligarchy in America. With the most economic, political, and technological power destroy the public good to enrich themselves while millions of Americans pay the price. And our political system is ill-prepared for this kind of abuse of power. In fact, much of our political system enables it, starting with the role of money in politics. But I'm here to remind you today, Denver, that we are not powerless in this moment. People are starting to put the pieces together. And ironically, some of the most divisive forces in our country are actually bringing more of us together than ever before. And that's important. Because the same billionaires who are taking a wrecking ball to our country derive their power from dividing working people apart. They specialize in getting us to turn against one another along lines of left and right, race and gender, creed and culture. And it's all to keep us distracted because the last thing they want is for us to realize that the real division and the real harm in this country is how endless greed is costing the lives of everyone else. Abolishing the Department of Education was kids with disabilities are able to get special education. Things like this, disability and disdain is a shorthand for the right's entire political agenda and a certain ugly kind of politics that is lying to and screwing over working and middle-class Americans so that billionaires can steal from our livelihood to pay for their tax cuts and bailouts for their crypto billionaire friends. But you know, there's a word for this kind of thing. Corruption. And seeing all of this stack up is enough to make even the best of us want to give in to despair. I get it. And trust me, I really understand. But understand that that is by design. They want us to give up. And it is easy to give in to despair. And I can tell you, for a while there, in the years that I spent waitressing and wiping down tables and never being able to get ahead, I did give up. I tried. I I tried to stop caring, keep my head down, work my shifts, and accept that this is just how things are. But that's no way to live, Colorado. It's no way to live. And we do not have to live like this. In fact, we cannot live like this. I was born to a working class family. My mom cleaned houses. My dad started a small business. They just tried to make a better life for my brother and I. And for a while, it felt like our American dream was almost coming true. Both my parents were born in poverty. They were able to work to put food on the table. And then when I was a teenager, my dad was diagnosed with a rare form of lung cancer. And by 18 years old, by the time I was 18, 19 years old, he was dead. And overnight, my mom became a single mom. She had to suddenly provide for my brother and I. And this is what so many of us experience. We're all just one accident or one moment away from feeling like our whole rug is pulled out from under us. And we don't have to live like this. And here's one thing I will say. Donald Trump, he sees the immense pressure that working people are under. But his answer to that pressure is an America that operates on the principle of every man for himself. And we can see this clear as day. He has handed the keys of the federal government to Elon Musk. He's selling off our country for parts to the richest people on the planet. And in exchange, those oligarchs will bankroll his campaigns and those of his allies. They scratch his back, he scratches theirs, and all of us are left behind. But the clever thing, I will say, the clever thing of what Donald Trump and what the right tries to do is make working people like you and me feel like we're just one step away from being inside that club. That maybe one day we will be a billionaire too. Any billionaires here? I didn't think so. Yeah. But here's the thing. The spoils of that kind of corruption and billions of dollars are not earned. They are stolen. Just look at what Elon and Trump are doing to our health care, our veterans benefits, and Social Security. They are slashing the programs that we have spent a lifetime paying into. By the way, not them, because they haven't paid their fair share in taxes in years. So let's talk about Medicaid and Medicare for a second. Because every single House Republican voted to cut Medicaid. And you see, these budgets aren't just fights about numbers. They are fights over our values as a country. Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security were promises that we as a people have made to each other about the kind of society we want to live and the living in the nation that we want to become. They are not promises from politicians to people or charity from billionaires to the working class. These are promises that we have made to each other, neighbor to neighbor, friend to friend, elderly to young person, teacher to student. And to me, the strength of our country is not just measured by the height of our best days. It's also about who and what is there for us on our worst day. And that's why I'm here with you today. Because I want to share with you exactly what I mean. Because what many people want to smear as radical, I believe, is common sense. I believe in the will-be fight to help you keep an affordable roof over your head. And finally, I believe that we must get big money out of politics and make clear industry lobbyists or corporations. You know, a lot of right-wing media will, thank you. Now, Fox News and right-wing, will have you believe that these American values are something out of the Communist Manifesto. That we believe these things because we went to some fancy school and read them in a book somewhere. But I can tell you, I don't believe in healthcare, labor, and human dignity because I'm an extremist. I believe these things because I was a waitress. Because I did lose my dad as a kid and had to see my mom open the hospital bills a few days later. And I don't want us to live like this anymore. We deserve better. And this isn't just about Republicans. We need a Democratic Party that fights harder for us too. Choosing and voting for Democrats and elected officials who know how to stand for the working class. In Colorado, I want to thank you for working hard to make that happen. In fact, I want to tell you a little bit about Diana DeGette, whose district we're in right now. She's not here today. She just had a baby grandson born not too long ago, so I'm sending her our regards. But you know, Diana DeGette, she is one of the most powerful people in Congress on healthcare. She's in charge of the healthcare subcommittee. And Diana DeGette is a co-sponsor of Medicare for All. She believes in the guaranteed right to healthcare for every American. Thank you for electing her. Your senators, Michael Bennet and John Hickenlooper, stood strong against the deflation and voted no against Republican spending bill. You've got another hero in the House today, too. Representative Brittany Patterson is here in the building. And she's right here. Brittany Patterson's right here in the building. You elected this champion. She got on a plane with a 4-week-old baby to vote no on that bill. Defend her, support her, uplift her. In fact, every Democrat from the state of Colorado who represents a congressional district in the state voted against that bill. So I want to thank Joe Neguse and Jason Crow as well. And don't stop there. I want you to look at every level of office around you and support Democrats who actually fight, because those are the ones that can win against Republicans. But our work here isn't done yet, because you know which Coloradans did vote to gut Medicaid and jack up healthcare costs? Every single Republican representative from Colorado and the United States. Don't you worry, I was just at Gabe Evans' district earlier today, and a lot of his, 11,000 of his constituents would like a word with him. So folks, you know what this means. We need to come together and spend every day for the next year working to educate our neighbors, reach out to them, and in order to give these Republicans the boot and replace them with brawling Democrats who will stand up for Colorado. But beyond election most powerful building block we have against fascism and to defeat authoritarianism and to root out corruption. So I'll end where I began. We might all come from different places, but we share many of the same experiences. So to all those who came here today unsure of whether or not this is a place where you belong, I want to say that you do. No matter who you voted for in the past, no matter if you know all the right words to say, no matter your race, religion, gender identity, or status, no matter even if you disagree with me on a couple things. If you are willing to fight for someone you don't know, you are welcome here. If you are willing to fight for the working people of this country, regardless of who they are, how they identify, or where they come from, you are welcome here. Because here everyone is valued. But I will say this. To those leaders on either side of the aisle who are willing to put their fellow Americans down so that they can get ahead or feel better about themselves, they may best find a home somewhere else. And if you're an LGBT kid or a family, we can't throw you under the bus in order to win an election. In this house, we stand together because here we know that together, without exception, is the only way that we can win. So I hope that you see that this movement is not about partisan labels or purity tests, but it's about class solidarity. And to all of you who came out today to stand together and say our lives deserve dignity and our work deserves respect. Is everyone okay? All right, it looks like we need an EMT over here. I'm sorry, everyone, we're going to pause real quick. Let's make sure they get some help. Do we have a medic? Everyone all right over there? They're on the way? We got a thumbs up? Okay, thank you. We got a medic over there, thank you. So, oh no? They still need a medic? Okay, can we still get a medic over there? They're coming. Love you too. Let's make sure they get some help. We got a medic over there? All right, we've got the medics on the way. Thank you. Thank you all so much. Thank you for looking out for each other. Now, we are here. I want to make sure that we pay very close attention right now. Because we are here to make a sacred promise to each other. Because our goal today is not just to come together and share a few inspiring words and then go back to how things were. Our goal here today is to commit to building the kind of country we all deserve. And I want to start with one assignment before we all depart here today. And it is to leave this place connected to a new person you didn't know coming in. So I want you to turn to the people around you and greet someone you don't know. Thank you. I don't want to interrupt you. Now, and we do that because we are here to make that promise, to take care of each other on our worst days and to share in the successes of our best.
unbelievable. I want to say, when you run for president 2 times, you do a lot of rallies. And in fact, we were here some years ago, right here, and we had a great rally. I think we had about 10,000 people out. In the hundreds of rallies that I have done, we have never, ever had a rally as large as this. Your presence here today is not just significant for Colorado. You are sending a profound message all over the world. The whole world is watching. And they want to know if the people of America are going to stand up to Trumpism, oligarchy, and authoritarianism. Now I want to say this, the reason Alexandria is with me today is not just that she is doing a great job representing her district in the Congress. It's more than that. She has become an inspiration for millions of young people. When she was a kid, she worked with her mom cleaning houses in order to help the family survive. Before she ran for Congress, she was a barista. Alexandria has not forgotten where she came from. But more importantly, when she decided to run, she was taking on one of the most powerful members in the Democratic Party. And everybody said, "You're crazy, how are you going to beat this guy? Maybe a future leader of the Democratic Party." She had no money, she had no political experience. But what she did is what all of us have got to do. She went out and worked with her friends and she raised a few $1,000s. And she worked hard and in a disciplined way. What Alexandria did is what millions of Americans can do. We can organize at the grassroots level. We can become strong trade unionists. We can run for school board or president of the United States. We're not going to let the billionaire class have all of the power. So the message today is yes, here in Colorado, in Vermont, in New York, all over this country. Hey, Mr. Trump, people fought and died to create a democratic society. You're not going to take it away from us. Hey, Mr. President, turn off Fox TV and take a few moments to read the Constitution of the United States. When I was in elementary school, we learned about how the government was formed and the Constitutional Convention and all that stuff. I should have studied it harder, but Trump should have learned it in the first place. And what we got is a separation of powers. And you know why? Because the people who founded this country took on the most powerful person in the world at that time the King of England. And they said we never want to have one person in this country who has all of the power like the King of England. So they created a government with an executive branch, a legislative branch, and a judicial branch. And what Trump is doing every single day in an unconstitutional way is trying to undermine the powers of Congress, undermine the First Amendment. You have a president who is suing ABC and CBS and Meta and the Des Moines Register. He is threatening to investigate PBS and NPR. He loves media that fawns on him, that tells him how great he is. Well, I got news for you, Mr. President. What democracy is about is people discussing issues, debating issues, and disagreeing with you. And if you can't take the criticism, get the hell out of politics. And what this moment is about, why we're here today, is we will not allow America to become an oligarchy. This nation was built by working people. And we're not going to let a handful of billionaires run the government. You know, a few years ago, when I used the word oligarchy, people didn't know what I was talking about. Well, they know what I'm talking about now. You gotta be dumb, blind, and deaf not to see what's going on. Trump gets inaugurated, and I had the unusual position, I don't know how I got right on the front row. So there I was watching the scene. Right behind Trump were the three wealthiest people in the country. Musk, Bezos, and Zuckerberg. Nominated to run major government agencies. So any working person in this country who thinks that these billionaires are simply trying to make government more efficient, you don't know what you're seeing. Now, you know, in Colorado and Vermont, all over, we have a serious problem with people who are addicted, right? We got a serious drug problem, we got an alcohol problem, we got tobacco problems, we have people who are addicted to one thing or another. But I will tell you, what I think the worst addiction in this country is, the most dangerous, and that is the greed of the oligarchs. You know, everybody wants to do well. We all want to make money, we all want to live comfortably. That's natural, that's right. But these guys already have billions, tens of billions, hundreds of billions. How much money do you need? And right now, what these oligarchs are doing is they're going after Social Security. They're going after Medicaid. They are trying to destroy the Veterans Administration. Veterans put their lives on the line to defend this country. And you don't fire 83,000 workers at the VA, which will mean worse quality health care for our veterans. And you know what is almost unimaginable? And this is what greed is about. It's like a heroin addict. You'll need it more and more and more. They want to cut nutrition programs for hungry kids. You tell me in what world, in what universe, in what religion is taking food away from hungry children and giving tax breaks to the rich vaguely moral? And it's not just horrendous domestic policies that Trump and his billionaire friends are pushing on us. For the first time in the 250-year history of this country, we have a president of the United States who is aligning himself with a horrible dictatorship in Russia. We have a president who lies all of the time, and one of his worst lies was that he says Ukraine started that war. Well, Mr. President, Russia and Putin started that war. And we're not going to ally ourselves with dictatorships because we believe in democracy. But it is not just Russia. Trump wants to continue the horrific Biden policy of giving more money to Netanyahu to destroy the Palestinian people. We are going to bring legislation to the floor very shortly, which says not a nickel more for Netanyahu. Brothers and sisters, there is today profound disgust at both political parties. People see a Republican Party in which Musk, the wealthiest guy in the world, spent $270 million to elect Donald Trump. And his reward is to become the most powerful person in the government. Now, I don't care if you're a conservative, Republican, or anybody else. Nobody thinks that is what America is supposed to be about. But I would not be telling you the truth if I didn't tell you that within the Democratic Party, there are billionaires who have undue influence. And there is a reason why for the last 30 or 40 years, Democrats have turned their backs on the working class of this country. So when we talk about where we are and where we've got to go, maybe most importantly is we got to get rid of this damn Citizens United Supreme Court decision. Democracy is one person, one vote, not billionaires buying elections. And I want all of you to know, corporate media doesn't talk about it, we don't see it in Congress much. The agenda that we as progressives fight for the working class of this country, is an enormously popular agenda. Republicans support it, Democrats, independents support it. Everybody knows that the current healthcare system is broken, is dysfunctional. Everybody knows that the function of the system today is to make huge profits for the drug companies and the insurance companies. And everybody knows there is something wrong when we are the only major country on earth not to guarantee health care to all people. So Alexandria and I and others are going to work with you to finally do what should have been done decades ago, pass a Medicare for all, single-payer program. No, stop burning. Not burning. I've got bad news for you. It's you. Right now, we have in Washington an embarrassing minimum wage, federal minimum wage of $7.25 an hour. And that means that tens of millions of Americans are working for starvation wages. Together we're going to raise that minimum wage to a living wage, $17 an hour. All over this country, workers want to join unions. We got any trade unionists here today? All right. And workers know that if you're in the union, you're going to get better wages, working conditions, and benefits. But corporations are trying to stop workers illegally, trying to stop workers from joining unions. That's why we're going to pass the PRO Act, make it easier for workers to join unions. We're going to end the absurdity of Americans paying, in some cases, 10 times more for prescription drugs than people in other countries. And Donald Trump may think that climate change is a hoax. We know it is an existential threat to our planet. And that is why we're going to pick up where Alexandria left off. We're going to pass a green jobs program. We're going to create millions of jobs, transforming our energy system away from fossil fuel. And in a competitive global economy, we need the best educated workforce in the world. It is totally insane that young people who want a good education go $50,000, $100,000 in debt. We are in desperate need of doctors and nurses and dentists and mental health counselors. If you come from a working class family, you want to go to medical school, you're going to come out of $500,000 in debt. That's insane. We got to make public colleges and universities tuition free. And none of this stuff is radical. The American people support this. They don't want tax breaks for billionaires. They want programs that help ordinary Americans. So the point that Alexandria made a few minutes ago is exactly the right point. And that is, what the right wing wants us to do is to turn on each other. They want to divide us up by the color of our skin, or where we were born, or what our religion is, or what our sexual orientation is. That's how they win. They divide us up. Now, I'm not a mathematician, but I do know that 99% is a hell of a bigger number than 1%. And I do know that if we stand together, we are the vast majority of people, we can defeat Trumpism. We can create a political movement so that we have a government and economy that works for all of us, not just the 1%. So brothers and sisters, this is a difficult moment in American history. But it's not the first difficult moment we have had. We've gone through some rough periods in the past as well. But what I believe from the bottom of my heart, if we stand together, we don't let them to divide us up. If we are smart, if we're willing to go outside of our comfort zones, there is nothing that can stop us.